Hello guys and dolls, how are you? I hope you're doing well. Hugs, hugs. Let's all have some hug action going on because God knows the world can use that. Okay, so I'm going to get right to the point. I don't do a half an hour intro because that really aggravates me. So, what we're going to do is talk about, first of all, before I even go into this article, I want to address the fact that I've always, well, I don't know always if that's accurate, but, and I'll excuse the glare in my peepers, but anyway, I felt like hatefulness and narcissism and mental illness, whether it's narcissism or bipolar, whatever it is that's wrong with the person, I felt like the hate that goes with racism is connected with something wrong with the person up here. You're furious about something that they can't change. You know, somebody belting at the dining room table in front of everybody during Thanksgiving, that's something you can change. You can tone that down. You don't have to sit at the table and go, bleh. You know, I mean, obviously that's something you have control over. Someone's color, they have no control over that. So you're angry about something that has nothing to do with anything that they have any control over, and they cannot press their belly button while they're inside their mom and automatically flip to the proper shade. Okay, that's just asinine. So, you know, and the people that are having all these stereotypes about certain ethnicities, they're a lot more hateful than they've ever thought of being. You know what I'm saying? It's like, except for the COVID thing, or not COVID, but except for this 2020 thing where everybody seems to be losing their damn mind, but whatever. So I'm going to go ahead and read this article. It is kind of long, so I'm going to try to condense it. This is an article called How Narcissism and Racism Are Connected According to Research. Racism is not only feeling bias or prejudice toward black, indigenous, and people of color communities. It's a system of oppression that maintains and inflicts power over them through schools, police, departments, court systems, and healthcare. But in a 1980s paper published in the Journal of the National Medical Association, the late psychiatrist Carl C. Bell, MD, CCHP, pondered what characteristics cause an individual to accommodate to racist values which are in direct opposition to the value of a democratic, free society. Bell's research, as well as subsequent studies by other psychologists, point to one potential psychological factor: narcissism. The concept of the narcissistic racist was recently brought to light again in a widely shared Instagram post by Jacqueline Ogorchukwu Ayama, a user experience designer focused on racial justice education and decolonizing wellness. To better understand the association between racism and narcissism, MBG looked into Bell's research and spoke with licensed psychologist Ramani Durvasula, P.H.d, Dr. Ramani on YouTube, who is absolutely phenomenal, by the way, and psychoanalyst Bebita Spinelli, who is an LP, licensed practitioner. I don't know what LP is. Licensed something. I don't know. Anyway. How narcissism can fuel racism. According to Bell's 1980 study, many racist traits are also traits of narcissism. I cannot, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Further, racist attitudes may be indicative of a narcissistic personality disorder. Bell describes three different types of racists: the narcissist racist, the stress-induced racist, and the socially misinformed racists. All three of which may actually be linked back to narcissistic traits. So the narc racist is a person whose racism is primarily a symptom of NPD. NPD alone does not relieve anyone of the responsibility for their behavior. So in other words, you don't get a free pass just because you happen to be a narc. It doesn't work like that. He described various traits of narcissism that manifest into racism. including a grandiose self of self-importance, a lack of empathy for others, and a likelihood to respond to criticism with defensiveness or indifference. Many of these are rooted in the narcissistic need for control and power. It is this need for a sense of absolute control which the racist feels justifies his self-given right to violate another's territory by either a physical attack, segregation, or discrimination. The territory in this country being, for example, the individual's right to adequate health care, education, and housing wherever he can afford it, or she for that matter. The stress-induced narcissist, it's important to note that not every person with NPD traits, not every person with narcissistic traits has NPD. And in fact, most people have some level of narcissism. With that in mind, the stress-induced racist is someone who acts in response to stress rather than NPD. The study describes this type of racism as a transient form of narcissistic rage and is usually a response to feeling wronged and seeking revenge at all cost. Even those who don't have NPD can display this type of narcissistic fueled racist behavior. The main stressor that narcissists have to manage is a threat to their ego and sense of superiority. Dr. Ramani explains, like I said, if you've not heard of Dr. Ramani, go to YouTube. Well, you're already on to YouTube, right? Go ahead and put a search in for Dr. Ramani and anything you want to know about narcissism she can tell you about. So they want to seek revenge at all costs. The main stressor has to they have to manage the threat of their ego and sense of superiority. Anything that threatens their fragile egos and puts them in a vulnerable state, i.e. losing a job, marital issues, etc., may cause them to react with victimhood, shame, and rage. They need someone to blame because they cannot take responsibility. A racist would take it out on people of different races, and a narcissist would attach false rhetorics to a group of people in order to justify their blame. And then you have the socially misinformed racist. Socially misinformed racists with NPD need the people leading their institutions to be direct reflections of themselves and their ideas. This can then justify their unempathic feelings and behaviors. Bell cites research by psychoanalyst Heinz Kohut, who wrote of this type of racist narcissist. They seem to combine an absolute certainty concerning the validity of their ideas with an equally absolute lack of empathic understanding for large segments of feelings, needs, and rights of other human beings, and to the values cherished by them. They understand the environment in which they live only as an extension of their own narcissistic universe. I noticed a severe trend lately that's just absolutely horrifying. And to me, it's also narcissistic on every level there is. Now, whether they have full-blown NPD, I don't know. But something's obviously severely mentally wrong with you if you sit here and you snatch your mask off and you cough on a baby on purpose. You sit here and because you don't have a mask on, you cough on the counter, or you hit somebody, or you shoot them. Yes, all of these behaviors have happened. There was someone recently who had a physical confrontation with an employee of Walmart because the guy was a door greeter and he didn't want to wear a mask, and by God, nobody's going to tell him nothing. Then you listen to all the people with narcissism who are saying, it's my God-given right to not wear a mask. It doesn't say anything about mask in the Constitution. What in the hell are you even talking about? It's your God-given right to give COVID to someone else, right? It's okay to put people at risk because you said so. Yes, something's severely wrong with you. Mentally, psychologically. I mean, people are behaving like there's no words to describe their horrific behavior. I'm stunned. Honestly, I'm stunned. Wow. Okay, so there's a lack of empathy for narcissistic traits that manifest as racism. There's gaslighting, in which a person denies another person's reality. This is similar to how a racist would dismiss the reality of racism and attempt to normalize racist practices. Other traits include insecurity, extreme sense of entitlement. I ain't wearing no mask because I don't have to wear a mask. Ain't nobody gonna tell me what to do. It's my right to not wear a mask, and I'm gonna march up in here and do what the hell I want to do because I see fit. Yes, something is wrong with every single last one of y'all that are doing that. Every single last one of you, and you should be disgusted and ashamed, and your own behavior should make you vomit. How dare you? Ugh. Anyway, insecurity, extreme sense of entitlement, a need for power and control, a superiority to others, tendency to bully and oppress others. Can a narcissistic racist change? Well, a racist has the potential to process and recover from being a racist if they take steps to face their racist stance and invest the time and effort to learn, grow, and take action to change. Narcissists, on the other hand, generally do not believe they need to change and refuse to change. So those who have full-blown narcissistic personality disorder, I see a spider and I'm not happy about it. I get a hold of you, you're done. Anyway, narcissistic personality, NPD, people feel like I don't have to change, y'all need to change. There ain't nothing wrong with me. But a person who has narcissistic racism, for example, they can change and they can be open to other ethnicities. If they get tired of themselves or other people get tired of them and start isolating them, they're starting to lose everybody. All their friends and family are like, or I know a girl in Concordia, Missouri is very, very redneck. Of course, Missouri is hateful, period. Okay, you don't even want me to get started on that. But, I mean, that brown is just absolutely disgusting. Now let me lay in the sun and on the beach and get as dark as you, but that's just disgusting. That brown, ugh! Now let me lay in the sun for about a couple hours until I bake. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Anyway, so a person who is, a narcissistic, racist person, they can change. But the girl I was talking about from Concordia, Missouri, very redneck, very racist. My God, are they racist? And you could be Hispanic, black, Indian, it don't matter what you are. Brown is just gross. So they got significant problems, but like I said, Missouri has problems. But anyway, her parents grew up, or she grew up with parents who are very, very hateful, very, very racist, and she is not like that. That's just not who she is. That's not how she operates, and I was really surprised. There was an incident in a bar where the people in the bar refused to serve the people that came in who were brown, and she said, and she'd been going there for years and years and years. These people were her friends, and the people that worked at the bar they were her friends, and they refused to serve the people that came in. And she said, if that's the way you treat people of a different ethnicity, you'll never get my business again. They're like, no, wait a second, whoa. She said, no, I'm done. And I'm very surprised at her, and I'm very proud of her, because she was taught by both her ignorant parents to be ignorant too. And she's like, yeah, no, we're not. That's not the right way to live. So I commend her for that. It blew me away, because I knew Concordia's reputation. Anyway. Do not invest energy into changing the narcissist view. What does this mean for the efforts to end racism? If narcissists are hard to change and narcissism and racism are linked, what does that mean for the efforts to end racism? As previously mentioned, it's important to recognize that not everybody with narcissistic traits has NPD. Most of us have some levels of narcissism within us, and if we can recognize how our internalized racism may be rooted in narcissism, it may provide insights into what type of inner work we need to be doing to heal our racism. But the connection between racism and NPD is also an important reminder that dismantling racism must go beyond individual level change. The idea that racism is rooted in ignorance alone is too simple, Dr. Ramani says. Since ignorance means a lack of education, that suggests people can seek more information and change their attitude. That rarely happens, she said. Racism is deeper. It is privilege mixed with entitlement, contempt, fragility, shame, fear, arrogance, lack of empathy, hypersensitivity, and ignorance. All of that, okay? While self-reflection is a critical part of committing to anti-racism, Spinelli recommends focusing on efforts like education, challenging normalized racism, dismantling systems that embolden racism, and working toward changing the policies and procedure that keeps them in place. So, and sometimes it's just changing your mindset. And for everybody who, oh, all Hispanics do this or all Hispanics do that, or, you know, nobody does all or never of anything, right? Nobody does that. So to not only direct that at people, that's just absurd, and then you direct it to only a specific types of people. Ignorance, hate, and all of that is not gender specific. It is not ethnicity specific or religion religion specific. I cannot talk. I don't know what's wrong with my mouth today. I really don't. But I can't help it. Something's wrong with me. But anyway, so it's people target all blacks, or they target all Dominicans or all Jamaicans, and it's asinine. It's absolutely asinine. It's stupid, and it just proves to the world that you're ignorant. It just proves that you got a lot of growing up to do, is what it proves, okay? You got a lot of growing up to do. And I don't know, there's something about the person I grew up with, supposedly the mother, whatever that means. She was never one of those. She's psychotic, and so was the father. She, for some reason, had a beef with Hispanics. And it's stupid. It's just stupid. I've never grown up with that. I grew up with hearing her make snarky remarks about Hispanics, but they never did nothing to me. I never saw what she was talking about, so... Okay? I cannot ever say all of any particular group of people does this. They always do this, or they never do this. That is not true. There's exceptions to every rule. Rich people can be ignorant. Black people can be ignorant. Hispanic people can be ignorant. I dealt with a guy in a hotel who was ignorant. He was the manager, and he was a dumbass. He was a freaking dumbass. I had surgery, and I was really eager to get to my room, and a friend of mine covered my hotel room for me because he knew I needed somewhere quiet to rest after surgery, because my neighbors at the time were, thank God I don't have neighbors upstairs anymore, thank God. Where I live now, I don't, but everything was paid for and covered, and this fool is like, okay, how much is it going to be? I said, what are you talking about? It's covered. And I said, and how much longer is this going to be? Because I don't feel well. I had surgery. Well, it took a sweet time. So, ignorance comes in every form there is. People want to hate China because of what's going on right now in the world and in the U.S. and everything. All Chinese people are not ignorant. There's a Chinese restaurant I went to today, and they're as nice as they could be. They genuinely like you. So there may be some hatred towards Americans or whoever it is that they're hating, but I am smart enough to know that all Chinese people are not like that. That's just stupid. That's like saying all women are this or all men are that. That's not true. The majority may act like that, but there's at least a handful who don't. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, hope you enjoyed the article. If you have any questions, let me know, and I will talk to you soon. All right, take care.